How's everyone doing today? Been a busy couple weeks. Good kind of busy. Summer's getting close to coming to an end. Only a couple weeks left. So trying to wrap a lot of things up. eBay Vault submission just went out today. I am gonna do, if anyone has any interest, I'm gonna do like a bonus submission. The deadlines are the 1st and the 15th of the month. And I'm doing like a bonus submission next week just because I've had the minimum met and then some on the 1st, on the 15th, and I've not had an opportunity to get many of my own cards out. I've not had opportunity to get like a little bit of a backlog of consigners that I've had for like a year now. Their normal stuff that's been on my eBay for the past year. Getting the stuff that's eligible over 250, getting all those in. So yeah, if anyone has any interest, I guess I'll say the deadline would be the 24th, like next Thursday. I'll probably send it out next Friday, the 25th, about a week before the first deadline, which would go out early in the month. So if anyone has any interest, I'm going to do a bonus vault send off. I think there might be a card or two inbound that kind of missed today's shipment. They missed the 15th deadline. 2 weeks goes fast, twice a month goes by quickly, but there's always cards like on a rolling basis. I mean, I've only been doing this for a few months now, but there's been cards on a rolling basis just missing deadlines, and I'll get them in though. I'll get them in as soon as possible once they land. Let's see who we got hanging out. We got Beerski, we got NP Pokemon, we got Leaf Green Goblin. This name that I feel like I've said 3 different ways, and I don't know which one's right. Ornisher or Ornitier. You could go a lot of ways with that. Jake from Pallet Town, kids are taking a nap. It's a great day. How's it going? iFOMO. We got Mr. Walrus flexing that golden boy status, the gold star. Appreciate you. We got Leaf Green Goblin looking for licks. Anonymous got some MetaZoo bags for me today. Thank you. Can a price be lower below 250 in the eBay Vault? If so, does it still have eBay authenticity guarantee? So the way the eBay Vault functions, and as always, I'm here for I'm gonna do like 2 hours today. I've been doing an hour and a half. If anyone didn't catch in my title, let me hit that quickly. Now be Biweekly live Pokemon chat. Biweekly is such a weird word. So if you Google Biweekly, it can mean twice a week, and it can mean every 2 weeks. This bi-weekly means every 2 weeks. So we do PokeFlipz every 2 weeks. The weeks that I'm not doing PokeFlipz, I will be doing my own live stream. I've talked about it a couple times, but this school year I won't have a sitter. I'll be spending days with my daughter, and I'll be working nights. So a lot of my weekly live streams will be done in the evenings, but it'll be bi-weekly now instead of weekly. I was going to have to cancel or move next week's anyways, because I'm going to be taking a couple days off. We're going to be doing a water safari trip. So I will be doing PokeFlipz normal time next week, but I will not have a live stream next week. From this live stream forward, at least for the time being, it will be probably for the whole school year at a minimum. It'll be bi-weekly, every other week in between PokeFlipz. So back to the question, and feel free to keep the questions coming. Looking to hang out for 2 hours. It'll get tough to fill the radio silence if there's no questions coming in. So I always appreciate those. I had my music turned off. I had to turn that back on. So can a price be lowered below 250 in the eBay Vault? If so, does it still have eBay authenticity guarantee? So the only policing I can do of this is just asking people to self-police. Please don't try to take advantage of getting $200 cards in, $150 cards in. If you send a card in that we price at $250, which is perfectly fine, it gets authenticity guarantee on the way in. So I actually ship. I shipped just today. I shipped to PSA. So PSA is the inbound authenticator, who then ships it back to Delaware. Unfortunately, the cards have to go all the way to California. I think it went to California, or did it go to New Jersey? I actually didn't look. I never looked too closely, but I'm pretty sure it was Santa Ana, California. Anyways, I ship to California. They get authenticity guarantee. They have to be valued at $250 minimum, and then they go back to Delaware to be stored in the vault, where I then list them. say they're worth 250 when they go in. Like, I had a lot of modern Japanese promos, a lot of modern Japanese set cards that used to be 3 months ago, they were $30, and then they went to $300. Well, some of them are back to 100, 150 now. If the price is 250 and then it subsequently falls, I can physically list. I mean, I can list it all the way down to about like $5, I think. I think I can list it at whatever price I want. But yeah, please don't try to use that. And I have to approve every vault submission on the way in. So if people are trying to skirt through like $100 cards, $150 cards, I'm just going to decline those ones. But yeah, if and when the market moves, it's not like you're stuck at 250. Auctions are also a thing too. I actually have an auction going tonight from one consigner just has a certain card that they want to move at this point for whatever reason. And it's not primarily an auction service. If and when you need or want an auction, we can do that, absolutely. But I'm not looking to like just sell. I don't have the capacity to take in hundreds of cards a week, send them to the vault, and then have them all auctioned. It is a buy it now consignment service greater than 250. But yeah, good question. I've had that come up a couple times. If you look at my store closely, I just repriced a batch of cards, probably 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. I repriced the other day that had been 250, 300. And I think they were priced a little bit high by the consigner. That was sometimes the consigner prices them. Sometimes I price them if they ask me to. But yeah, the prices were a little lofty on the way in, and we got them lowered though, and hopefully they'll move. Thanks, John, for the question. How's it going, Ponga? Thanks for saying hi. Bi-weekly live stream. Wonder when this pump and dumper is going to change to once a month. I don't foresee the need or the desire. This is more out of need than desire, to be honest. I do enjoy the weekly lives. If you watched my video Monday, you could see that eBay takes up like a fair portion of my work schedule. I do enjoy it. I do prioritize it. And I do make the time for that because I think it's good for business. One, I think it does make sense, dollars and cents wise, but it also makes sense. I enjoy my time on YouTube. So it's more out of need than desire. And I don't see the need, though, to drop completely down to like once a month or any less. So every week I'll still be live for you. PokeFlipz and then myself. And PokeFlipz is like 3 hours. This is like going to be around 2. We'll see what happens, though. How's it going, Snuffleupagus? Robbie? Ornitier? Ornisher? Ornitier, probably. Ornitier. Hello, everyone. How's it going, Andy? How's it going, Java? God, I just love modern graded cards. Love the liquidity. I love how they look, too. I mean, I love a lot of things about all different cards. These things drive me nuts. I normally don't notice it, but when I see in my OBS, then they drive me nuts. I have that putty somewhere. I have that tack, whatever it's called, the poster tack. I stomp around too much and they're constantly moving. I bump them with things too, I think. Darren M says, I'm not going to live, been listening to your vault submission videos and info, but I guess I haven't really processed the info. I get the vibe listing expensive cards myself is very dumb if I can send them to you and save a lot on fees. So one thing, I mean, full disclosure, all that, eBay Vault, if you are a US account, there are fees involved. There are some amount of fees to send them in. You're doing the work sending them in. You're paying me to do the work sending them in. But regular US accounts, if you enroll in the eBay Vault, and now individuals can send their own cards directly to the eBay Vault. I've never done it. I have special access. I had early access. My process, I think, differs slightly. My costs differ slightly from what the general public is. But yeah, I mean, look into it. I genuinely don't know exactly how it works for you guys. But I'm here if you want at 5%. And then if you want to look into what it would cost and how much time it would take to do it on your own account, that's there too. So yeah, I'm not trying to like, for a while I had exclusive access and you could not send directly. Only if you purchased through eBay and it was over $250. But as of now, you can send directly by yourself. Sorry if I sound a little weird. I'm a little bit stuffy. The last few days I've been a little bit stuffy. Mowed the lawn yesterday, so I get a little bit stuffier after that too. But yeah, Garen, I'm here. I'm absolutely here. If you want to send me a DM, if you want to send me an email, talk more about it. I'm here if you want to use the service. How's it going, Hermit Man, Dude Man, dropping the bearded dance. Makes a video about not being viral, expecting to go viral, doesn't, and get salty by cutting the schedule. How's it going, Boondock? Jake. RuneScape 3 just released a new skill. What will it take to join my clan and play RS3? RS3 never for me. I do have an account that would still be active over my stats. I think my combats were in like the 70s or maybe 80s. My stats were pitiful. There's no money on that account. I swapped it all over to Old Skool. How many different safaris are left? Yeah, water safari is fun up in Old Forge. I think I mentioned water safari, so I'm assuming that's what the question's about. But yeah, we've got the wild zoo safari, we got water safari, lots of safaris up in the woods in New York. It's great. OSRS is definitely greater than. How's it going, Super Saiyan? Super Saiyan TCG. Hope I'm saying that right. Not cyan like the color. OSRS is good for the nostalgia, but RS3 has some epic bossing late game. New skill just changed a lot of things. I don't have the time or desire to learn all those new things, to be honest. So much of my life, my job, my hobbies, my video games are all rooted in nostalgia, and OSRS checks that nostalgia box. I did see Cool Trainer Ryan's video. I don't normally watch like opening videos like that, but I saw somebody link in Discord, a couple links in Discord, I think, different Discords. There's some error. I think I have at least 3 cases of those. I'll have to check because I think he said the Silver Tempest packs. I presume the way that you check for them is you just open a case and then you open a tin, and if you have 2 Silver Tempest packs that both have an ultra rare, presumably the remainder of yours would. I guess to be safe, you could check 2 tins, and then you'd have 7 tins worth. You'd have like 14 packs that you would be sure of. Statistically speaking, I've got to be math spreadsheet guy Dan. I mean, you could figure out the math on what are the odds that you open 4 packs that are all hits by chance, and the chances would be pretty low. So if you open 2 tins worth, maybe open 2 tins worth, open 1 pack from the second tin, even 3 packs. I mean, you can do the math on what your percentages would be. Thoughts on current CD rates you going in? I'm assuming you're talking about like certificates of deposit. I have a treasury.gov account because last year, whenever it was, I was buying I-bonds at like 9.1% or whatever. I need to look at that to see where my current I-bond rates are, but in place of CDs, I would probably just get treasuries directly, like T-bonds. I think 1-year T-bonds are currently, 1-year treasuries are currently 5.36%. I don't think any CDs would exceed that. But yeah, I probably will be taking my I-bonds, because I think current interest rates are like 3%. So whenever my I-bonds get to the point where they're paying less, barring any penalties, again, it's just math, but I'll sell my I-bonds and then I'll buy treasuries in my treasury.gov account. It's not like an investment type thing. It's more like I put my emergency fund there, as opposed to having it in laddered treasuries, having it in laddered CDs, as opposed to having it in just a 0.1% checking account. Send all your junk slabs to Dan. Has to be under 250 though. Gonna be the Old Skool Pokemon bi-quarterly video soon. My Friday shorts are not going away. My Monday videos are not going away. I have a massive backlog. I've contemplated going to 2 videos a week to churn through more of my backlog, but I just don't think it makes sense, because I think I would go to 2 videos a week for like 2 months and get through some of my backlog of video topics, and then I'd be like stressing about being behind on it, trying to think of ideas, and one a week is just very, very sustainable. I like one a week. Cap, you're saying packing orders takes you 30 seconds per you have time. I say 2 minutes. I say 2 minutes to be safe. I do listings in about, I think I figure for my consignment, I do about 12 cards an hour. Very, very conservative. For me to make the spreadsheet, set the buy it now pricing, for me to interface with the consigner, for me to take the photos, make the listing, and then ultimately pack and ship. Whether I'm packing and shipping, actually packing and shipping is slower than the eBay Vault intake process is actually a little bit cumbersome. You have to actually type out so many of the details that you don't have to otherwise, and you have to type in like the cert number for each card as well. So whether it's going into the vault, whether it's going to just regular eBay, 10 to 12 items per hour, all in, and that's probably like rounding up. I always like to be a little bit safe, so I process 10 to 12 items an hour. It goes down when you have like stock photo situations, when you have like 10 of a single $50 card with same grade. These Charizard EXs from 151 that I just listed on eBay today. So 6 minutes, 10 items per hour is like the absolute worst case scenario. That's like a consigner sending to the eBay vault. Obviously you benefit from creating the spreadsheet, doing the initial payout, all that front end work. If it's all for one card, it might take me 15 minutes to sell one card. Like I might only do 4 an hour. But then when I have consignments that are like all, like I have a stack in front of me here, all EX Team Rocket returns, EX Delta Species, same sets, same grades, or like deep quantity, that's where you get closer to the 12, maybe 15, maybe 20 an hour, depending on how. But 10 to 12 an hour is a pretty good number that I use. Ornithir. I'm assuming you're saying yes when I said Ornithir. So I think I have it down. I've probably had it before and then just forgotten it. I see your name around a bunch. I apologize. How's it going, Birch? How's it going, Card Palace? See you at Charlotte. Charlotte is crazy. Charlotte's coming in like what, 4 weeks? That's gonna fly by. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks from this weekend is Charlotte, I believe. I think Long Beach this week or next week? Long Beach is really soon too. If Dan got a milli subs overnight, I bet he'd be live every day to milk all that ad revenue. Disgusting. Oh man. I do not allow no. You cannot bid on your own items. Do you allow your customers to bid in their own cards in auction if they decide to pay if they win? When you send cards to me for consignment, you are selling those items. There's no buying them back. If and when I ever found out that someone was bidding on their own auctions, I know like other people who've consigned have talked about having these issues. There is no screwing around with that. You are banned. I'm sending all your cards back after you pay a large fee for the headache, for the hassle. I'm pretty sure I wrote that right in my terms somewhere, that there is no, obviously, there is no bidding on your own items. That's an eBay policy too. So my terms and conditions are like underlying the umbrella eBay terms and conditions. Yeah, no messing with your own items, because you can make the claim that like, oh, I'm paying all the fees, I'm doing all the stuff, like it's just like a different way to do a reserve. That doesn't fly. And I'm not. I know you're just asking a question. Of course, the motivation, it's show bidding, but if they're gonna pay for it, doesn't chance anything, I guess. It does chance a lot of things. Please, everyone know that you cannot bid on your own items, even though they're on my account. Do not try to do like some kind of a reserve thing. Do not do some kind of a weird thing like that, especially given that I do buy it nows. That's one thing I love about buy it nows. It just doesn't make sense. Like with auctions, there's more temptation, and there's more likely that people have issues along those lines. With buy it nows, it's just like no one's gonna send to buy it now and then buy it now back from me. If anything, they'll reach out to me and say like, hey, the price is moving up on this. Let's bump up the price some. I've actually bumped up the price on some consignments, but there's just a lot of things I don't like about auctions. I know I did 300 auctions last week, but yeah. Brandon says, Dan, how's your lawnmower doing? It spent the night in the ditch overnight. A part on the deck broke. The ditch was a little wet. I should not have been mowing inside of the ditch, given how wet it was. Maybe I can pull up a picture quick. I took a picture this morning before I popped it out of the ditch. But, where's my browser? Oh, there it is. I lost my browser. Maybe I'll pop up a picture quick. Yeah. let me... Yeah, so let me download this picture and pop it up on the screen. Show you the situation I was dealing with. Gotta love the lawnmower meme. I'm not even a lawn guy. It's funny because I'm not even. Oh wow, that is very zoomed in. I'm not even a lawn guy at all. I literally just cut my grass when it needs to be cut. But this is my mower. This is my mower stuck. Holy, this image was huge. I don't know how that image was so huge. Super high resolution. So I did the old throw some 2x4s under. But you can't see from this angle. But a part on the deck had actually broken. The deck sunk into the mud. So when I tried backing up, the deck was just like digging in deeper under the mud. So what I had to do was I had to like yank up the deck and I had to kind of like clip it. I got the S hook off of a bungee and I clipped the deck up on that side and then I wedged the 2x4s under it. I lifted the deck up on top of the 2x4s, then S clipped it up, and then I was able to just back out smooth. But I was doing that last night. That was the end of my night. I was finishing up like at the kids' bedtime. And I was just so done with it. And yeah, I figured the next day it would be drier. And I just went ahead with leaving it in overnight. That was not super fun, but Mr. Walrus with the wrench is trying to tell me to ban people. How are the new mower blades? New mower blades are good, but another part on the deck broke. So I don't even use, I have like a lever with 6 different height settings that I can use for setting the height. I always mow all the way up. So I'm just going to bypass that. I'm just going to use like, I need to get something heavier duty, but I literally just pulled 2 S hooks off a bungee. And right now my deck is held up, instead of by like the arms that use that lever to raise and lower your deck, I just have them S hooked up at one height. Like it's actually like the perfect height. It's the exact height that I usually mow at. But yeah, that was, I'll always have some lawnmower repair going on, it seems like. But I did the math. I think it was last week I did the math. I make $50 an hour mowing my lawn, tinkering with my lawnmower, all in, all maintenance, all things considered. $50 an hour, I'm happy with it. Maybe since I had to bail it out of the ditch this morning, spending some extra time, maybe I only make $49.99 an hour now because of that extra time, but still worth. How long do you think Pokemon as an IP will have as much impact or potentially more in the future? As much impact or more, it's so hard to say. I think Pokemon will be around 25 years from now. I think Pokemon will outlive me, I think. Will it be as big or bigger than it is today? I have no idea. This could be an all-time high for Pokemon. This could also be like the new floor, right? Like Pokemon could just go up from here. No idea. It's all speculation, but I fully expect, I mean, I hope I live till 80. If I live till 80, I'll be living till 2070, 2080, somewhere in there, 80, 90. I fully expect Pokemon to be a thing in 2070, 2080. So, bullish on the IP. No real world trading. The digital monster's trying to get me banned for real world trading live on YouTube. What Pokemon were in your party of 6 back in the day when you played the Game Boy games? So I full Pokédexed Yellow. I went through with like I used Dratini because he evolved. What did he evolve at? Like 55? I used a lot of the species that you couldn't catch their evolved form. Like I wasn't going to use Diglett. I wasn't going to use Nidoking, Nidoqueen, because Nidoran evolved at 16, and then you used the Moonstone and you were done. Clefairy, used the Moonstone, you were done. I didn't use anyone that fully evolved early, so I used I used a couple legendaries to just beat down the Elite Four, and then you'd pop out the various people just to get the XP. These days, kids have it easy with the XP share. They don't even have to go out in front of their foe. They just get the XP for doing nothing, being in the party. But yeah, I generally have like a Zapdos and Articuno, and then just like 4 people I needed to level. As far as on my way up, it would have been Dratini for a long time as early as I caught him. It would have been... I'm trying to think of who else evolved really high. I can't even remember, but I played through so many times. There were times where I played through with just Pikachu and Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise, and then 2 other. I really liked Gengar, Haunter Gengar, so I used them a bunch of times. Mewtwo, obviously, once you got him. Same thing for beating down the Elite Four, getting everyone leveled up. My eBay international orders have been skipping the delivered scan to the U.S. facility and get forwarded on to the buyer lately. Makes me slightly nervous. I don't like someone else handling, but I'm still liable. I've not had that issue. That's strange. I feel like I've noticed a massive drop in my eBay international shipping going to like Chicago or Illinois somewhere, right? I need to look into that. Let me actually make a note. I know I haven't changed any settings, and I had the thought like a few days ago when I looked and everything looked fine. I feel like I need to look deeper into that though, because I feel like my international sales through eBay international shipping have taken a nosedive. I don't know why. Could be vending my first show in a couple weeks. What would your plan be if you expect small attendance numbers with spending per item also expected to be modest? Bring liquid stuff priced well. Ultra modern packs probably priced well. Ultra modern hit cards. WotC has high liquidity as well. I don't think it will always have the same liquidity as Ultra Modern, but the higher the print runs were, the higher the booms were during those eras, the more liquid it will generally be. So yeah, bring good stuff priced well is always going to be my advice. But it's not going to be, yeah, like don't expect Collecticon numbers from a local convention with 10 tables and 100 people going to it. Did you cut your schedule because Old Skool said NN would outlast you? No, I mean, I've been on YouTube now 2.5 years. There was times where I was doing 3 videos a week. I've just, my schedule, my posting schedule has just varied over time based on the amount of backlog of content I have, based on the amount of time I have to dedicate to it, based on how much I'm enjoying it, and based on what I feel is sustainable and not going to lead to burnout. So where I'm at right now is just the equilibrium of all those things. I diversified my investments 55% crypto, 5% bonds, 35% stocks, 5% OSRSGP. I am not going to comment on that at all. Not a financial advisor. That's you do you. I'm assuming memes though, given the 5% OSRSGP. But I mean that number, those numbers, like there are probably people out there with 100% of everywhere from 0 to 100 exposure in any of those things. How's it going? Gengar's Den. Yeah, please no bidding on your own items. James says, hello, Dan. Thanks for the financial advice all the time. Hey, Dan, heard you mention Comsi a few times past vids. Do you find Pokemon moves on there? I don't buy on there. I sell on there. If you go to Comsi, I think you can actually search Comsi Catch 'em All Collectibles, and you'll see what I have. It's not much. It's some Pokemon, it's some non-Pokemon. But I have a sticky note right here, Comsi shipment. I'm going to be doing another Comsi shipment at some point soon. Somehow there's a way to see what I have on Comsi. I don't really know how, but I think I do have like my own page there. Do you know if any of the 2023 World's Trophy Pikachu sold and who bought any? I do know of multiple sales. I don't really feel comfortable sharing private sales that I was not a party to, that I don't know if the participants of that transaction want it public. I know of at least three I think that moved. But yeah, there were a lot of public offers being made, but again, I just don't feel comfortable sharing. I put out numbers. I guess I feel What did I end up? I don't even remember what I ended at. I think I ended at 65K. I think the highest offer I gave to one of my people on the floor in Japan was 65K for a number one. I was offering 65K for a number one, and there were several higher bidders. So I guess that will tell you a number one, if one were to have transacted, it would have transacted above 65K. However much that means, I guess I feel comfortable sharing that just because that's something I was offering myself. I think a number two, I think I offered, because I started lower and then I went up some when I was told that I was outbid or whatever. I think I was offering 65 and 50, or maybe 65 and 55. I forget. So where my lawnmower was stuck, Brad, that was actually my neighbor's part of the ditch, because I got stuck at the very edge of the ditch, edge of my property line, and trying to get out, I couldn't go backwards. So I tried going forward and then going backwards. And then I tried going forwards and then going backwards. By the time I was done, I was 10 feet onto the neighbor's property. So where I mow mine, he has a 0-turn Ferris, so he can't go into his ditch. I have the 42-inch cut Massey Ferguson, so I can go right into the ditch. I can go where it's super slanted, sit on the side so I don't flip over. I still haven't deactivated the pressure switch thing in the seat, but that thing is kind of annoying. I have to sit on the side of the mower and like put my hand on the seat sometimes so that the pressure switch doesn't shut me off. But where the grass was super long, that was my neighbor's. You might need a machete to cut that, not a lawnmower. Dan's got a sassy Massey, very nice. I used to do lawnmower derbies on a rider. I used to do lawnmower derbies growing up. I can fix anything on a rider. I believe you mentioned not much interest in Lorcana. With limited release tomorrow, you think it's a good move to attempt to get some short/long term. I think shorter term would be better than longer term. I hear, again, I'm not following it whatsoever. I just hear what comes across Discord, what comes across my YouTube feed, whatever. I heard that the initial allocations were absolutely destroyed. I know Mason made a couple of videos about getting nothing after he was going to get like 6. So I heard there's supposed to be more coming down the lines. And I think Ravensburger has been fairly public about wanting to like have enough product out there for people. So I'm not touching it. I feel like it's highly speculative. I'm busy enough in Pokemon where I have more certainty on what's going on. And I just don't feel like gambling. If I want to gamble, I'll go to the casino for a night with several $100s instead of the several $100s I might put into Lorcana. The upside is honestly probably better. The risk is bad with both. Both are high risk. But the upside is honestly the EV, not EV, but the upside potential is probably better with Lorcana than with going to the casino. But yeah, I'm not gonna play in it. I'm busy enough with what I have. What do you mean bi-weekly? Yeah, I'm going to be live every week, but one week it'll be me, and then the other week it'll be Nick and I. It'll be PokeFlipz, me, PokeFlipz, me. He's bailing on the hobby slowly. Hey, I'm just a fisherman taking my foot off the gas. I need to do what's best for my family. I need to do what's sustainable. And me taking the foot off the gas a little bit, me dropping hour and a half weekly on YouTube. Well, every other week, I guess. I'm gaining a little bit is what's required. So he's shown a picture of the... Is that the lawnmower? I think that's the YouTube reveal for the lawnmower, isn't it? I've shown it in Discord before, but I think that's the YouTube reveal. Always keep it on one height, never change it. This is the way. I'm assuming, like, my mower is so far from a commercial mower. If you're a commercial mower and you have some customers who want it lower and some who want it higher, I could see where, like, I have 6 settings. Bob wants that one, Timmy wants that one, whatever. Like, you label each with the customer. My mower is a residential mower. Like, I don't know. Maybe you have certain parts of your lawn that you want higher, lower. I guess I get it some, but that thing has just been headaches because there's been multiple components of it that have broken. Multiple linkages have broken, and I've just fully bypassed it now. Is there a 90s country song about getting your mower stuck? Probably. Damn, we making plays for 2080. What are your thoughts on retail store exclusives available at distro? I did see Mason somewhere, I think, in Discord. Somebody in Discord somewhere posted that GameStop exclusives are being offered to them. I don't really know. Maybe GameStop. I don't know how to comment on that. Was GameStop not moving them quick enough? Did GameStop order a bunch and then is GameStop going bankrupt and they can't pay Pokemon, so Pokemon's just ditching it through normal distribution? No idea. There's probably a lot of reasonable expectations for what that could be, and I'm just guessing. Lately, I've been noticing a ton of people selling items such as Evolving Skies boxes, 2021 stonk plays, etc. You notice this trend? I think people are getting smarter and they're collecting as a whole. Pokemon is a massive market. I think people are constantly selling a little bit of everything. I mean, it's only reasonable that some amount of people with Evolving Skies being 400, 450 a box, whatever it is now. It's only reasonable some amount of people are selling those. Some people are getting smarter, some people are not. Yeah, it's a very diverse market. Jake from Pallet just got a PSA return. Good luck. Remember leftovers, save my butt in the Elite Four. Leftovers. In Pokemon Yellow? Or are you talking about like Crystal? Because Yellow they didn't have where they could hold any items yet. I think leftovers was one of those items that they could hold. Dan sold a Poliwrath in Dallas and now always says WotC's liquid. I sold a lot of WotC at the last few conventions. Most of mine is in the eBay vault now. I will have a little bit of WotC left to take the Charlotte probably, but not much. But it's selling well. Like it's selling for substantially over what it auctions for. I'm doing buy it nows. I mean, I have a fair bit of it listed, but every week I'm shipping a handful of them and at good prices too. Like I just sold a PSA 9 Crystal Nidoking for $1,200. I just had the eBay Vault ones are harder to pay attention to because they just go and I don't actually fulfill them myself, but I've been having quite a few. My shipments to Japan have slowed down as PSA has opened up there. Makes sense, obviously, but my US sales of Japan have been good. Japanese have been good. Yeah, my sales are all pretty good. Are you going to send any promos from 151 UPC at the $50 to $100 tier for the big race? I'm probably not going to do any higher tier racing. I'll probably just do all 15. Who knows, though? If I have super clean stuff, I might do a Beckett sub. I might do a PSA sub. We'll see. On the report, here's their allocation. Their portfolio allocation. 30% Roblox Robux, 5% RuneScape Gold, 10% Fortnite V-Bucks, and 55% in Pikachu V-Maxes. Gotta risk it for the biscuit, right? Why don't you focus on selling off your own website? eBay, I mean, people call it Feebay, all the memes. eBay does so much work for the 12% they charge. I'm hopeful that I sell enough on my eBay, I get better rates eventually. That's my long-term goal. So eBay's 12% fee is one of the most undervalued things in the hobby. The amount of sales tax compliance they do for every state in the country, for not only for every state, for all of the thousands of tax jurisdictions in the country. Shopify, you're doing that stuff yourself. So I do it once a month, once every couple months for like box breaks here and there. I largely am under a lot of the requirements for a lot of different states and stuff. And yeah, I love the automation of eBay. I love not having to pay for advertising. eBay, it just has millions of buyers at their fingertips. So eBay gives you so much for that tiny, tiny fee they charge. And it's hilarious how many people, to their own detriment, just think it's like so expensive. I'm assuming this is about the trophy thing. Mr. Walrus getting sassy before I gave some more insight. And you know, Brad is always there. I think I just pinned a message. There we go. I unpinned it. But Mr. Walrus had his sass highlighted for a minute, but I just unpinned it. Hey Dan, how am I supposed to retire early before 40 if I can't touch my pension, 401k, or IRA until I'm 55 or so? So again, this is not a finance channel. There are many avenues to. There are many ways to answer this question. One, max out all those accounts. Add money into brokerages in between. Roth accounts, you can actually access the principal penalty free before you turn 55, 59, 59 and a half, 70, whatever the numbers are. what is that one called? Um, equal. It's SEP. It's not a SEP IRA, but it's something about equal and proportional, substantially equal periodic payments. So you can actually, and again, this is not advice for anybody, but theoretically, you can utilize SEP, substantially equal periodic payments, to tap into retirement money before retirement and not pay any penalties on it. So that could be, I mean, there are finance channels that have videos on what that is and how it works, but you can do, Roth IRA laddering. You can do traditional to Roth conversions. You can do so many different tax strategies out there. Personal finance is like a hobby of mine. It's an interest of mine. So I read a lot about it. I know a lot about these different strategies, and who knows, maybe someday there'll be a Catch 'em All finance channel. But this is not the place to get too in depth on that. But yeah, there are a lot of answers and strategies out there. Another one is like spend very little money and retire from the job that you hate, do something you love that makes enough to pay your bills. Once you get enough money in your 401k, what do they call it? They call it barista fire is one of them. There's another one though. I can't think of what they call it, but basically you have enough money in your 401k, in your tax advantage accounts, that once you're 60, it will have compounded to be enough money for the remainder of your life, and especially with whatever we get for Social Security and all that. But basically you're set based on what you've saved and what it will grow into, but you just need to make the salary for the interim. I think that's Barista Fire is the one. Many things there though. It's wild that the winners sell these cards for more than the prize money they get. Yeah, I think the winner gets 25K. I think Josh was saying, maybe on Slab Podcast they were talking about it. Some offers for number 1 Pika were up to 150K, ridiculous compared to the others, IMO. I would heavily push back on that. I don't know where you heard that. One of the issues with these things is that I see on Facebook, I see on Instagram, I see on Reddit and Discord, people just throwing numbers out of nowhere. I highly doubt that there were 150. I mean, there could have been, but it's easy for someone to just say something somewhere and not have the money, not actually have it be a serious offer. The amount of commentary from people that just never have owned one, never will own one. It's always funny. It's always funny to watch. But I did see from serious buyers, I saw a 50K floor on 4, 3, 2, 1, any number. I mean, I offered 65 on a 1. I offered 50 or 55 on a 2. So there were big numbers out there, but 150, I heard of some one selling, and I heard of one selling for under 150 is what I'll say. For some reason, there's a lot of 2023 Worlds merch on sale almost everywhere. Gotta pay for that trip. Dang it, my Tua got rocked. PSA gave it an 8. I'm assuming Tua, I don't know how to say his last name, Tua Tagovailoa, whatever it is. He's going to get rocked when he plays the Jets twice a year, too. I'm assuming that's who Tua is. Dan trying to pay 65K for a single Ultra Modern Boof card, then tries to be bearish on the hobby, make it make sense. Can you name 3 cards you're sending at $40 PSA tier? I really don't send at the 40. I think the only tiers I've sent at recently were 15 and then like 75. There's a lot of cards that I send that are the 75 tier or higher. I know I'm going to get upcharged anyway, so I just send them for 75. If it's 40, I'd probably just send it for 15 and see if I get upcharged for most things. I don't know what 40 goes up to. I mean, I guess I could look it up. PSA card fees. I could theoretically send for 40 to get something faster, but I rarely do that. So 40 gives you up to 500. Up to 5, I just chance it. I just chance it. Unless I wanted to get it quicker, which I'm not doing a lot of those plays. So, yeah, I've not sent at 40 in a long time. Got hit harder than any hit that gave him a concussion. So we're definitely talking about the Dolphins Tua then. Yeah, that's confirmation. What are your opinions on the Pokemon Center promo, stamped ETB promos, such as the Charmander? They're neat. They're neat for collectors. I'm not doing anything with them. I'm not buying the Pokemon Center ETBs. I'm not grading them. I'm not doing anything with them at all. Appreciate you, Java. Java gifting 5 subs. We got Garen, James, Georgia Bulldog, Trippy Hits, and Walk In with Pokemon. Walk In with Pokemon. Appreciate you, Java, for the 5. Looking forward to not meeting Java. I met Java last year in Charlotte, but seeing Java again in Charlotte. Looking forward. Just a few weeks, 4 weeks. Lorcana will pay well short term, no doubt. If you're more of an investor type and believe in the game itself, get you some D23 promos. That's NP Pokemon saying that. That's not me saying that. PC, Paradox, Rift, ETB up now. Very random, but do you live by any Amish? I live by a fair bit of Amish and Mennonites, and there's definitely a lot of the streets around me. Not immediately around me, but within 10-15 miles around me, there's a lot of different farms and stuff that you'll see like horse and buggy going up and down the road. So never up and down my road that I've seen, never within a few miles of me, but definitely not too far away. Gotta watch out for those horse and buggies. Dan, let's bet on the Dolphins versus Jets game November 24th. I'm trying to get that easy money. I mean, if you want to give me better odds, the thing with DraftKings, like I don't even make bets amongst friends much anymore, unless you want to give me better odds than DraftKings, because it's like most people that most people want to make like a straight up bet when the Jets are big underdogs, and it's like, why am I going to do 20 for 20 when I can do 20 for 40 on DraftKings or whatever it may be? And obviously the Jets this year, they probably won't be as big of underdogs as they have been historically. But yeah, like if you're going to give me the same odds or better, if you're going to give me the same odds, I may just well do it through DraftKings. And if you're going to give me better odds, like, okay, you want to do a little bit better odds than that, kind of meet in the middle between the DraftKings odds? Maybe. It's just more tedious. It's more tedious. I'm already in the DraftKings app. But we can bet on it if you want to lose money. November 24th, that's a long ways away. I think that's like 3 weeks after Houston. Houston tables just booked yesterday. I was saying up until a few days ago that I was like 60-70% Houston. I'm booked for Houston now. I do have a table for Houston. I've not done flights. I've not done hotels or anything, but there's still a chance that I might not go, and I'll just sell my table off to someone else for what I paid for it. But Ray booked the section, and I have a table in it, so looking forward to that. I'll probably be there. I'm in a Discord that will prove you people aren't getting smarter. Dan waited for 150 paid memberships to dip out of YouTube. Yeah, I guess instead of what I'm gonna do though, like I was doing 1 hour lives, I was doing occasionally 1.5 hour lives. I'm gonna try to commit to 2 hour minimum lives, sometimes maybe 2.5. Probably never 3. 3 is kind of a lot. I'll probably do 2 p.m. Eastern though for the next couple. But then once the school year starts, it might be like 9 p.m. It might be I need to figure out what time will work best. So time and day are subject to change, but there will be at least 4 hours a month for your 99-cent membership if you opt to do it, to get those emotes and all that. You would have prior had 4 weekly, maybe 4, 5, 6 hours a week. A month, sorry. I'm still gonna give you 4 hours a month minimum, maybe 4, 4.5, 5, but yeah, somewhere in there. We'll put the second video each week behind another paywall for 12-month members only. I talked about doing some kind of a higher membership tier where you get a discount on packs when I buy them. Those are just hard to manage. Hard to manage the discount codes and things like that. I think I'm just gonna stick with the 99-cent. I mean, I'm not promising that I'll never make a higher tier, but paywall, I already have the Patreon. That's going well. I don't really feel the need. I don't know what I'd put behind a special paywall on YouTube. Can't say that I'm never going to do it, but as of right now, I don't have any plans to. Yeah, eBay's streamlined. All my sales are already there. If I split things over to my site, it's just more tedious managing the two. I got to pay for a program. I got a cross list, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the already established massive customer base is on arrival. How's it going, Melfi Collectibles? Did you see Michael Burry $1.6 billion short? No, I really don't pay attention. Right now, I actually have a large portion of money. A large portion of my tax advantage long-term money is out of the markets. I did I'm doing a rollover. One of my wife's 403Bs from her former employer is rolling into her Vanguard IRA. And my old employer 401k, finally, 2 years later after I left, I'm finally rolling it over into my IRA, my Vanguard IRA. Since I pulled the money out, because like the process is so terrible. I took I had a physical check of my entire 401k balance the other day to Vanguard for benefit of me, my account number, all that. I had to physically mail that to a PO box for Vanguard, and they say 2 to 4 weeks to get that thing deposited. So as of right now, I have like my largest single account for retirement is out of the market. Since it's been out, I mean, the market's down 2 or 3%. So I'm actually making I'm saving / making thousands of dollars right now with the amount of money that I have out of the market while it's gone down. I was fully expecting my money to come out for the rollover and then to just pop like 10 or 15%. I would have been so mad. But so far right now, it's down slightly. I thought this was already a finance channel. Appreciate you, Melfi. Leave a like. Do people just understand they can be unemployed and retire? All this planning is crazy. Just a fisherman fishing. The Tua pronunciation was a D+. Tua, yeah, I feel like I can hear someone saying it in my head, like hearing an ESPN announcer or whoever saying it. It's Tagalolivea or something about that. There's L's and I's and A's and V's and O's, all kinds of letters like that. Crazy. 150K trophy offer was a well-known person people would know, but I bet it was just to get the conversation going. It was on their IG story while they were on the event floor Saturday. I mean, if they posted on Instagram, NP, let us know. I mean, if they posted on Instagram, that's pretty public. I would be interested to hear who that was because Tagavaloa. That's all it is. I feel like there's way more. Leaf Green Goblin gave me the phonetic spelling. Tagavaloa. That's it? I thought there was like eight syllables or something. But yeah, NP, I'd be interested who it was. If they posted on the 50K floor offer was Crystal Pokemon. It wasn't him, it was a client of his, I believe. But given that Chris posted it, I actually messaged I messaged Chris and Brennan both a little bit, Crystal and Pallet, and I just wanted to know how real their offer was because I had actually heard of a couple that were potentially being offered, and that was higher than mine on the 3 and 4. It was lower than mine on the 1 and 2, but I was in contact with like a player on the ground floor who was friends with some people that were winning the trophies, so I feel like people are Congo Valoa. Yeah, people are not agreeing. Brad and Leaf Green Goblin are not agreeing in the comments. Dan trying to pronounce Tua's last name like Nick trying to pronounce any non-Gen 1 Pokemon. That's funny. Yeah, Charlotte's coming up real fast. Thanks again, Java, for the gifted. Should I tap in for Houston? If you want to go, you can go, but there's no tables left. We pinged everyone in the planning Discord, and as seems to always be the case, no one's there ready to go on the day that the tables drop. And then I expect 2 months from now, mid-October, when it's like 3, 4, 5 weeks out, I expect people to be like, "Hey, are there any tables left for Houston?" That's just the way it goes. What can you do? Dan, are you excited to meet me finally? I've had the displeasure of meeting Brad on multiple occasions, I believe. How many times have I seen you, Brad? When did we first meet? Orlando this year? Dallas this year? Going back to last year, What did I do last year? I did Orlando and Charlotte and Denver. I think I met you first in Denver, right? Or did I meet you first? I can't remember where I met you first, but I know I've met you. I've multiple times. What is your opinion on the sample MetaZoo cards with black borders with 100 copies each? The Mothman sample PSA 8 sold on eBay auction at $9.6K. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. A lot of future optimism is priced into that price. I own a handful. I think I own... I honestly don't know exactly how many I own right now. I might own 5. I think I own 2 Bigfoots, a Men in Black. Oh, and then I own the sealed packs. I own a few sealed packs too that I paid way too much money for from Rusty. I sold him my trophy, and then he sold me some MetaZoo sample packs. They're risky though. They're risky. If MetaZoo's still a thing in 10, 20 years, they have a lot of optimism priced in, so it's not even a certainty that they'd go up. But they could go up, could go down, like anything else. Yeah, I did see they signed Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, I'm not getting my hopes up because they're still the Jets, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Can you talk a bit about how you source your cards you're going to send for grading, having a hard time finding enough cards that are gradable quality and of a reasonable price to send out 20 plus at a time? eBay, TCG Player, Instagram, direct contacts with Japanese sellers. That's 90% of my sourcing right there. Big collection buys, all different kinds of things. I made it to a live. Congrats. You are in my top 2 mostly because of your long content I don't watch on 2X. Very informative and entertaining. You helped me get through my workday. Thanks. Thanks for watching, and thanks for stopping in. Hey, Jonathan, let's refrain from the compliments. They go straight into this dude's head. Thanks. Oh, that's funny. One of my wives. What did I say? Was I talking about one of my wife's... What was I talking about? I don't know. We need a finance channel for sure. We need a safe place to compare Pokemon investing dwellers. Brad saying it's Tungo Vailoa. I don't know. I thought there were way more. I thought there were at least like 8 syllables. Rusty got a trophy and Dan got Boo Boo MetaZoo get scammed. It's funny. I would say, again, I like John, Pokemon Radar, recently sold his number 1. The reason I'm saying that is because he publicly posted that it was for sale. He was asking $150K or best offer. I will share what has been publicly posted. I do know what he ultimately sold it for. I don't know if he's going to share that exact number. I mean, I'm not really sharing the number that I sold mine for, but I shared with him what I sold mine for. So he shared with me what he sold his for, a little bit more than I sold mine for, but not substantially. I sold mine in December-ish of last year, and he sold his 8-9 months later. I would say that in between my sale to Rusty and then what happened recently with trophies, I think they were generally down. Like I think what Rusty had paid, I don't think they would have achieved those in public auction. One thing that blows my mind still today, the amount of original Japanese trophies that have gone for auction, the amount of victory rings, Victory Orb Mews, the amount of super secret battles, the amount of tropical mega battles, the amount of half art trophy Pikachus, all these cards, illustrators, the amount of illustrators that have gone for auction in the past 3 years, all these cards, there has been like no full art Pikachus going for auction. Very, very interesting to me. It's like private sales only. It's really, really strange. But I would think that generally speaking, in the time that I bought those samples from Rusty, I think they've gone down a bunch. I think his trophies would have gone down a decent amount, or at least like his ability to liquidate them instantly. I don't think there was really anyone. I mean, I kind of know there was no one else paying the same amount because I would have sold to them had they been paying as much or more than Rusty. So for the middle period, I think we kind of we both scammed each other a bit in that both of our stuff went down. Mine are still down. My samples are still down. His trophies are more on the come up right now, I would say. So I think overall he won that side of it, but neither one of us is hurting right now. We're both doing pretty well, so very happy in hindsight with the sum of both transactions. If I could go back in time and not have bought the samples, I wouldn't have, obviously, because they've gone down. Liquidity's bad, but you win some, you lose some, right? Have you looked into the JP Tanto hair cream promos, making any moves like the Unagaba Eevees? I feel like I'm aware of those, but I'm not. There are some other promos. I don't spill the beans on everything. I will tell you that I don't have those promos, but I'm honestly like, I'm trying to not buy much this summer. The majority of what I've done is what I've showed. Like, the majority of what I've done is literally 001 SVP, Nagaba Eevees, Charizard Celebrations. There's some other stuff, but it's not that in depth. Like, I'm mostly getting through backlog. I only have a couple more weeks to send the Troll and Toad Evo, so I'm sending to them. And yeah, keeping up with consignments, getting stuff out to the eBay vault. I'm gonna be in a time crunch next school year when I'm working nights, so I'm trying to not give myself too much work. I'm trying to do the Fisherman thing, foot off the gas, kind of coast a little bit. Try to up my hourly, up my average sale price, but lower the amount of hours worked. Orlando last year was first time. Oh, Orlando, the Heritage $1 Million box break, right? When they did the MetaZoo, the beta. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. Dan met me once and can never forget it. I refuse to let him. You were Orlando. They all blend together so much. I mean, I've been to 5 Collecticons now, I believe. They blend together so much. It's tough. I mean, a lot of them they do have. I just knocked over a stack of cards. Great. A lot of them do have the same general people going, but then there's some people who just do 1 or 2 of them. I mean, I only do a few a year, so I'm just patiently waiting for Dan to add us noobs on OSRS. Do you have like incoming friend requests? I don't even know how Old Skool RuneScape works for like the friends list. I've not played hardly at all since my live stream. I've done almost nothing. I think when the live stream ended, I think I did like 1 or 2 more Slayer tasks passively, like the next week. Like kind of AFK. I have a Gargoyles task that I've had for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know how many weeks ago I did that stream. But I kind of want to do Grotesque Guardians, but I don't really have the time to. I kind of want to get my quest cape back, but I don't really have the time to either, or I'm not prioritizing it at least. At the end of the day, could go up, could go down. Just combine Dan's phrases and they still can be true. Yeah. You see the consecutive cert newly graded trophies going on Golden, 1998, number 2 and number 3. Yeah, probably fresh off the printers. Probably fresh off, what's his name? I can't think of the name. The one with the printer printing out all these Japanese trophies off. It's a little scary. A little scary, the amount of illustrators, the amount of like these. Like I said, the amount of full art trophy Pikas that have sold publicly being essentially 0 for the past 5 years. It's just really strange. Really strange. We got Greeny putting in his own phonetic spelling. Tagunda Vailola. Tagunda Vailola. We've got a lot of people's own interpretations of the phonetic spelling. Oh, so Tula is just a nickname. That's funny. Picano. Pikono, Picano. I don't know how you say it. But NP. I don't know if I missed it in chat, or if you don't want to share it, that's fine. But if they publicly posted on Instagram that they were paying 150K, I'd be curious if you could share who that was. I don't know if it's anyone I follow, because I was watching quite a few stories. I was watching quite a few stories Worlds Weekend last weekend, and I never saw a 150K offer. I'd be shocked if multiple winners wouldn't have just immediately snapped that. I don't believe Dave Person was offering that high. I know Zach Gemmit Pokemon on behalf of someone. he was willing to beat any offer. I jokingly sent him a message of something like, "Hey, I'm offering $1 million. Do you want to buy it from me? I'm $1,000,001." Then I would have just bought one for $100K and flipped it to him for $1 million. Oh God, this question. Duke Blade says, "Any thoughts if PSA has changed their grading standards secretly?" No, they've not. They've just consistently inconsistent over the years, is what I'd say. Very, very wide ranges on what is a 9, what is a 10, what is an 8, all these different things. Is Pokeball Guy a future play? I did buy some amount of them. Oh, okay. I think I was mistaking Radar's 150K post on his own trophy, but I think I saw a few others around 100 to 120K. 100 to 120 sounds a lot more reasonable than 150. I never saw a 6-figure offer. Radar was selling his, and that's how quickly, like no malintent, just misinterpreting, misunderstanding something. But yeah, Radar posted his trophy for 150K or best offer. And you get someone posting in Discord, "Hey, did you see there was an offer for 150K? And then, I mean, the same thing goes on in real life too. Then there's live streams about it. Then there's articles written about it. There's this and that. And there was never a 150K offer to begin with. Like, I think it's very important to not put bad numbers out there. And I know there was no intent, but yeah, I heard of some transacting. I did not hear any numbers 100 to 120K. I mean, I heard... It's always funny when people say, "Will be any price." But when people say they're buying something and don't put a number to it, it's like, come on. How? And yeah, I don't know. A lot of people do it, and it must work sometimes. But I know when I bought all my trophies, I had public offers, and supposedly a lot of my public offers were lower than some that transacted privately. But me putting actual numbers out there, I've bought 6 full art Pikachu trophy cards. I only own 1 anymore, but I successfully bought 6 by putting actual numbers out there. And I didn't put mine out in a story, but I put mine out. I was pretty, when I made a 65K offer on a number 1, I was half hoping I would not get one because that's a lot of money. I've never spent anywhere near that amount of money on a card. But I was not surprised nor upset to have been outbid, to be honest. I knew, again, I had seen 60, I had seen 50. I'm like, let me tell my contact, because he was in touch with somebody who was in the finals. My contact was in touch with, friends with someone who was in the finals, and he was kind of fielding offers on his behalf. And I threw out 65, and within an hour, it was like, "Oh, we have multiple offers above that." So I didn't go higher from there. But when people sell without a price, and when people try to buy without a price, like if you're the one trying to initiate a transaction, bring a number. Like, will be any offer. And again, like it was Zach, it was Gemmint Pokemon who posted that on behalf of somebody else, I believe. But Zach, if you're listening, throw a number. Come on, man. If you're gonna beat any number, let's see a number. If the highest offer out there is 50, say 51. If the highest number out there is 60, 70, 80, say 80, 85. I know, and it's a very difficult thing because in some ways people try to not, it's tough because so many numbers are floating out there, you don't know what's real. So you don't want to just post that you're paying 100 on a number 1 when you might be able to buy it for 70. Like, why publicly post that you're going to pay 100 for a number 1 when someone might sell it to you for 70? Because people will just post, "Oh, these things are worth 100, these things are worth $1 million, don't take any less than that, you're dumb if you take any less than that." There's a lot of noise out there, and it just isn't helped by people just chiming in with, like, again, people that have never owned them, never will own one, chiming in with nonsense. Like, I'm not gonna like when people estimate, like, "Oh, what's that illustrator gonna go? What's this gonna go for? What are those trophies gonna go for?" They're gonna go for at least 50K, because I'm gonna bid 50K. I mean, if they were gonna go for 50K, I'll buy them. If they're gonna go for 80, 90, it's a number 2 and a number 3. I might bid 100K. Like, I'm actually more liquid than I've been in quite a while. I could make 100K work, and I would buy them. So they're gonna go for at least 100K. But for me to confidently say they're gonna go for $1 million, for me to confidently say they're gonna go for 2, 3, when people speculate like that on things that they're just not the consumer for, like, what it's weird. It's just weird. Like when the one of one Yu-Gi-Oh card came up, and when the one ring was pulled. Oh, that's gonna definitely when Golden did all his shilling on that one of one triple logo man LeBron. 6 million, 8 million, whatever, and then it goes for like 2.3 million, 2.6 million, whatever it was. It's just so weird when people try to say what something's going to go for that is so far out of their realm, and myself included. Like maybe I've done it in the past, and I was wrong to do so if I did, but yeah, it's just really weird. Uh, It's not a secret. It's obvious they changed. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that 0 certs were bad, and 2 certs were bad, and 4 certs were bad, and 5, 6, 7 certs are bad, 8 certs are the best, and then 9 certs will be the best, and then 10 certs, 11 certs, ultra modern, ultra better. They're constantly getting harder. Yet I'm grading 95% 10 raids on some of these subs. I don't know. The pack grading I will give you. The pack grading, there's actually data out there. I've not compiled it. I've not made a video from it. They've fundamentally changed how they apply their standards for pack rating. Their standards haven't changed, but they just finally started applying them. I mean, Nat Turner even kind of said that in the live with PK. That's one thing I'll give you. As far as the other stuff, consistently inconsistent. What kind of entertainment do you consume when you eat dinner? we do no TV. We do no TV during dinner. During breakfast, during lunch, a lot of times PBS Kids, whatever will be on. If the kids got their educational music videos, whatever they have on, a Disney movie. We watch TV a lot of times during breakfast and lunch, but dinner we do like family time for dinner. We all sit down at the table, and no TV, no phones, no anything like that. So yeah, no. I guess the entertainment of hanging out with my family. Nate G says sold. Okay, that's enough. Stop flexing, buddy. Are you grading the Obsidian Flames ETB promo out of the gate? I am not. I ship them with the bulk to my buyers. I've not broke down any other ETBs otherwise. I might grade some with CGC soon, but I've not yet sent them out. Yeah, literally just grade 10s. I mean, why grade 9s? Why grade 8s? Just grade 10s. Most people just need a boogeyman, and their boogeyman is PSA is tougher, and they need like a reason why they're not doing as well as they think they should be or could be. And PSA is a common boogeyman. Like I give grading companies a lot of criticism and all this and that, but overall I think they do a pretty good job, and they're consistently inconsistent for my taste. The only reason I say they're consistently inconsistent is because relative to how much the market values their opinion, I don't think they're, at least for me, very, very personal, very, very opinion-based. They are not consistent enough relative to how much the market values them. Relative to how much I value them, they're perfectly fine. Grading companies do an amazing job, I think, overall, all things considered. I think they're charging more than they need to. That's supply and demand, though. Like, I don't cry about it, because it's just supply and demand. If I wanted a boogeyman, if I needed someone to blame in my life for why my business wasn't doing what it should be, I would be like, oh man, PSA is just a greedy company and they want money, money, money. And that's why I can't make enough margin. That's why I can't make enough money. Supply and demand. I mean, I want their service. A lot of people do. The equilibrium price point to where it averages out is 15. Yeah, people just like to a lot of external factors. They need their boogeymen to blame for various things. So I might need to I might need to turn my lights red soon. Just pre-grade harder. Rank these sets from best to worst: Chilling Reign, Vivid Voltage, Battle Styles, Fusion Strike, Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance. I don't interact with ultra modern sets enough to really like know. I mean, I can't even name you the top 3 chase cards. Maybe not even the top chase card of all those sets. So my rank would be meaningless. Zard Lurking says, "What's up, Dan? When can we get you and Nick to have James and Cam back on PokeFlipz?" I don't know if they'd have time. Those bankers, they have very tight schedules. We've had them on twice, I think. I mean, I'd be totally up for having them on again at some point. I know Radar wants to get on again at some point. He's back to making content. we only get through one guest a month every other episode. So it's tough because there's a ton of people we want to have on. There's a ton of people we want to have on for like a second go, a third go. But yeah, it's just tough to balance it all. Dan, at what age are you going to give your kids a cell phone? I got my cell phone when I was like 16. I got mine when I got my first car, around then. Maybe 15. Maybe it was maybe a year before, leading into, I think, getting a car. I think my no. I think my sister got hers at 16. And I might have gotten mine at 14 or something. At that point, I was staying after school for a lot of like sports practices and things, and I needed to. We had a payphone in school. Crazy. That's how old I am. I used to have a payphone that I used to call, arrange pickups from practices and things like that. But I think I got mine in the early teens, preempting getting a car. My parents wanted me to have one when I had a car. My sister's 2 years older, so they wanted her to have one. I think we got them at the same time. So I think I was 2 years younger because my sister and I got them at the same time, if I'm remembering right. I remember the phone I had. I think it was like a VGX 3300. I'm weird with numbers sometimes, and for some reason I remember like very specific numbers for no reason. No, that's a camcorder, so it wasn't that. It was an LG. I think it was an LG. LG VX 3300. That was my first phone. So if anyone wants to look up, I remember I bought different covers for it. Let me download the image. I showed my I showed my lawnmower earlier. I might as well show my phone. So this is the first cell phone that I had. I remember I bought separate covers for it, so that I could have like a cooler design, not just this plain white. That was my first cell phone though, for the first several years I want to say. Well, not several. First 4 or 5 years probably I had that cell phone. Anyways, some kids in my wife's class, 3rd and 4th graders have them. They're not going to have cell phones when they're like 8. Whatever age they get to where they start like going to friends' houses more, whenever they start like where they might be away from us more regularly. And I know my wife is going to push for them having it like really young as far as like emergency contact means. But as far as like having a smartphone and being on it all the time and having it in their rooms and not going to bed, it's going to be something that's like, they make those kids, phones for kids that can only call like 5 different phone numbers, and we'll see though. I don't have a set age. It'll be when it feels right, when a lot of their friends probably have them. Will probably be way too early. But yeah, it'll be a combination of factors. Mostly how often they're away from us and when they might need to get in contact with us. 90 watching, only 30 likes. Hit that like button. I see 31 now, so you got me one, Brandon. Maybe me saying it out loud will get more. I see 32, I see 33 now. I just liked it myself. How long will you be live? I'm live till 4. I'm going to be live till 4, so another 40 minutes or so. I still remember, like, I remember some of my locker combinations growing up. I remember all my phone numbers that I had growing up. I remember all my different addresses, which doesn't sound that impressive, but like in college, I had like 4 different apartments, and I feel like a lot of people, I don't even try, like I just, numbers, I have a thing with numbers where once I remember that, I remember the landline number to my house growing up. I remember the landline number to multiple friends' houses growing up that I used to call. I remember, like, I forget how long in our relationship it was, but I remember my wife, girlfriend at the time, did not know my phone number. She just had it in her phone, and I'm like, what if you ever, your phone, whatever it may be, if you ever just needed to contact me somehow, I'm like, you need to remember my phone number. I remember my social security number. I use my wife's social security number so much on various tax forms and things that I have most of hers committed to memory. If I cared to, I would probably have it committed to memory by now. But yeah, sorry. I don't know how I just got on that rant and ramble, but I think remembering my cell phone model number was what brought me to it. How have the CGC gem mints been doing compared to pristines? I don't have a ton of a sample size, but pretty good. Pretty good by my I've always got to fidget with something. I just dropped my little spring that I'm fidgeting with. Pretty good. Pretty good overall. I'm happy so far with new label liquidity and prices. Just get more 10, not hard. Yeah. How's it going, Terry? Nice to see you in here. Better late than never. Can we get a hey everyone, catch 'em all collectibles here? Hey everyone, catch 'em all collectibles here. Not gonna peek my mic like Nick does on PokeFlipz. There's a good one. How many digits of pi do you remember? I don't remember. I remember enough as is reasonable for calculations. 3.14159 is all you need. 3.14159 gives you enough precision for any calculation you're going to be doing. I mean, if you're trying to send a rocket to the moon, you'll probably be good with 3.14159. I think after that, it's like 7, 3.14159, 7, 4. I don't remember. But yeah, I've never really tried. I still, yeah. We had 6th grade math is when we learned our prime numbers. And we had a competition of like who could say them the fastest. I remember in my math class. I still remember all the prime. Only to 50 though. We only went to 50. So I remember the prime numbers, the 50. Silly things. Silly things. I got a cell phone at 12 and didn't use it for like 3 years. I've always been a big texter. Now instead of texting so much, I do a lot more Discord. Which would you choose? Let's assume you get 100% pristine 10, $18 BGS, or $9 CGC. $9 CGC, just because at BGS, that's not the top grade. Sister got one at 16, Dan at 14. Dan was the spoiled child, shaking my head. Got my first cell phone in middle school for basketball practice after school. Loved that Sony Ericsson brick. Different today with smartphones for sure. WTF, I didn't even know you had a sister. Yeah, my sister was/is my occasional babysitter. She's going to be going and getting a real job now, so she won't be available for babysitting. Her son is going into kindergarten, as is mine. So, yeah. My son is my oldest. Her son is her youngest. So she has both kids in full-time in school now. She wants to go get a regular job. She periodically helps me. As I said, I don't have traditional employees, and I don't ever intend to. I'm not saying I never will, but I never intend to. But my sister, my wife, my kids eventually help me opening packs, mass box breaks for like MetaZoo and stuff, breaking down product for Pokemon, whatever it may be. I did have an Envy. Envy was like, Envy would have been. I think I still have not all my old phones, but some of them. Some of them I sold on eBay, but some of them I kept. After the VX3300, I went to a very similar looking one that had a front screen for the time and had cameras outside. I don't think the VX3300 even had a camera. I don't think. From the second one, I think I went to an Envy. An Envy I had in like college, I think. Envy I had like a decade after the VX3300, I want to say. I never had a Motorola Razr. I was 15 and had the LG chocolate slide phone. I remember the chocolates. I never had a chocolate, but appreciate you, Terry, dropping the like. I'm 33, let's go. Dan, do you think Nostalgianomics would hire you for his landscaping business? I would not want to work for one. I used to mow lawns back in high school. I used to mow my grandpa's lawn, my parents' lawn. My parents' lawn was more of a chore. It didn't pay as well. My grandpa's lawn paid pretty decently. Probably not, though. I don't know. I think I mean, I wouldn't want to work in a landscaping business to begin with, but I think I'd be a good employee if I did, though. Why don't you use PWCC? I love eBay. PWCC doesn't really add anything for me. Obviously, they have different inventory, but I don't really buy graded cards anyways. I mostly sell graded cards, so PWCC just doesn't give me anything that eBay doesn't. So, uh, oh my God, Dan, we're the same. I know the wife's number as she doesn't know mine. If people, yeah, like my wife has known my number now for a long time. It was probably like, we've been together for over 13 years now. We're coming up on 8 years of marriage. But it was like 2 years, maybe it wasn't even 2 years into dating. I feel like I knew her number. I remembered her number from before we were dating, I want to say. Uh, I think it was, I don't know if it was months into dating or maybe a year into dating, but I was just like, how can you not know my number? I mean, she knows it now, though. She knows it now. I made her remember it after that. Terry, Brad wants to be friends with you on Facebook, so check that. You sure it's me, Brad? I didn't see it. Brad's getting left on red by Terry. My pick is of a hawk missile. Send me a request. There. Terry and Brad are friends now. Oh, man, that's funny. Do you think vintage booster boxes are going to stay the same value for many years? Or do you think they will grow in price slowly? Or do you think they will stay the price until they suddenly grow massive? I think they did a lot of their massive growth in 2020. If I completely had to speculate on where box prices would be 2 years from now, largely the same. Barring if something major happens with the economy, if something major happens with Pokemon overall, I could see them dropping 50%. But if I had to pick one number, I would say they'll be up 5 to 10% in 2 years. In 10 years, I think they could be up more considerably if Pokemon is still killing it. But it's largely based on what Pokemon as a whole is doing. Those are highly pegged to that. If PokeTube, if views go down and PokeRev doesn't make it to 5 million subs or whatever he's on path for, and if Pokemon goes from printing 9.7 billion cards to printing a billion or 2 billion cards a year again, they could go down a fair bit, I think. I don't own any long term. If and when I ever buy one, I immediately open it to break it down. Familial's different. I mean, I'm not just saying that either. Familial employment is very different legally speaking as well. Question: if CGC sticks with the new changes permanently and don't rock the boat, do you think over time they could outperform PSA? I think PSA will have to reckon with the fact that it's too easy to grade a PSA 10 on a lot of cards. I think the fact that like the Nagaba Eves have a 90 or 95% 10 rate is problematic. I think a lot of the market doesn't care and isn't aware, but ultimately, eventually, over several years, I think it will matter more and more. That said, pristine 10 rate, how much lower will it actually be? Will it matter if it's 70%, 60%? I don't know if that'll be significant enough to matter, but CGC could, but I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say. It's obviously highly speculative, but I think a lot of people are just like, PSA's been here longer. They're bigger now. They're going to be bigger forever. That's just a dangerous thing to get too fixated on. If I were investing in Pokemon cards, I would disproportionately be more likely to buy the cheap. I would probably have more CGC, more BGS. I would have less PSA. I would generally, because they're worth more. So it's like I would grade with PSA to sell them, but when I was buying them, I would try to like buy the other labels and then cross into PSA instead of paying those massive premiums. It's all about cost basis. And some people get so wrapped up in what color the label is. Grading is not a final thing. You can crack it out and grade it with another company. You can cross it to another company. So if your justification is PSA is worth more, so it's better, it's worse on the buying side if it's worth more, right? Like, buy the cheaper ones for the same cards and then put it in the better slab. Like, relative to the price of the cards, the grading cost is minuscule, infinitesimal to some cards. I mean, PSA, that's like PSA is the most expensive as far as like upcharges and all that. But yeah, it's those are my thoughts around it. I complete guess, but 20 years from now, I feel like there could just be a brand new opponent entering the ring. There could just be somebody on nobody's radar right now that could take it all over. Fanatics Grading, FGS, Fanatics Grading Service, if they want to, and they do some kind of computer-aided grading, and they do things really right, and they put the marketing behind it, and who knows? Who knows what company it could be? Who knows what scale it would be? But hitching your entire wagon to one company, and the cards are the cards, and the cards can be put in any color, label, and case. So don't forget that. Those are my thoughts. Those are my opinions. Grew up on a dairy farm, got one at 12 from one of my parents tending to fields during hay season. I actually been talking to my wife some about just us growing up, and I used to live out in the woods when I was growing up too, at a different house. I used to ride my bike a couple miles into town through like backcountry roads, 55-mile-an-hour speed limits. I don't remember the exact age that I was initially allowed to do that, but I'm pretty sure I didn't always have, like, I was definitely doing it when I was older and had a cell phone, but I'm pretty sure I was doing that before I had a cell phone too. Like that concept today, to think about if I had a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, however old they are, like, I'm pretty sure by the time I let my kids go on bike rides just wherever the hell they want to go, they will absolutely have cell phones. And my wife will probably have like a GPS tracker app open, watching where they go, and she'll make them have like she'll make them be like FaceTiming or something, and having their camera mounted to their bike, FaceTiming, so she could see where they were going. I don't know, but it's scary as a parent to think back to how things used to be, and what we used to do and get away with and all that. More and more, my wife have been having those conversations, and we know what we both had growing up. We want to be like, you don't want to lock down too much, right? Like, everyone went to high school, everyone went to college with some of those kids whose parents locked down too much, and then when they got that first taste of freedom, they went way too crazy. So you don't want to do that, but you also want to make sure everyone's safe and happy and good. And so it'll be interesting to see how those things are navigated. And honestly, so many things are so different from where they were 5 years ago, let alone 25 years ago, 30 years ago, when we were our kids' ages. But who knows? 5-10 years, like, between now and when they turn teenagers, the world can be so much different. It'll be exciting to see where things go. A little scary, but that's what makes it exciting too. Are those Pokeball statues serialized? Love the Master Ball. So the Master Ball is, but the other ones aren't. Man, I remember when camera phones became a thing. Absolutely mind-blowing at the time. Yeah, absolutely. You knew her number before you were dating, stalker alert. I mean, I talked to her. I talked to her. I still remember her her AIM username. We initially talked a bunch on AIM, and then I got her number at one point. But yeah, I mean, I think usually you get someone's number, you talk to them, I forget. Yeah, we definitely hung out a few times, like as friends before we made it official and became boyfriend and girlfriend. So yeah, I definitely had her phone number before we were dating. How much would I have to pay you to do a top 5 Pokemon investments video? I think I've done I've done a couple top 3, top 5 style videos. They're not my favorite, and I think I've always put my own twist on them. But if people ever have suggestions, like I have a backlog of video topics that I'm going to do at some point. But if people have video ideas they want, like I don't think I'm the top 5 investments guy. I know you're mostly memeing probably, but those are out there. Those are out there. That's the majority. I'm in the minority. Like top 5 tax advantage saving strategies or something like that. That's more my style. Are you surprised at all with how low some of your level auctions went? I know the market is what it is, but damn, it's kind of sad how cheap they are. People probably won't even believe me, but I've had a dozen people reach out like, hey, what did you think about your auctions? How'd they do? I packed them and shipped them. I didn't really pay attention. I don't really care how they went. A lot of that stuff, I had it. If I could go back in time and not grade that stuff, I wouldn't have graded it. I'm gonna do less and less of that, like niche onesie twosie stuff and more of the deep quantity stuff. I didn't even look back. I might make a video. I actually might make a video. So I actively have cards for auction on ZNG Emporium. My ones with Rusty ended. My ones with Probstein all ended. My ones with DC Sports 87 haven't even been listed yet. So I might do a video sharing my experience of the different auction consignment services. Use it as a little advertisement for my own buy it now consignment. And I mean, I like to advertise James and Rusty's services if people want them. More so James and Rusty than DC and Probstein. They're doing well. But I'd rather advertise more like James and Rusty. But because I don't provide. I mean, if you send through buy it now auction or buy it now consignment and then you ultimately want to auction them down the line, we can do that. But overall, it's a buy it now consignment service. So anyways, I genuinely, I mean, I noticed some prices here and there. Some of them seem low, some of them like whatever. Some went low, some went high, as auctions do. Doesn't matter. It's over, it's done, the money's in my account, the cards are gone, and I'm on to the next thing. There's nothing to take from it, right? Like, what am I going to do with that information? I actually do want to show very, very kind of scary, but kind of exciting auction coming up that I'm going to be doing. I think I have this set up. Yeah, I do have this set up. This card, if anyone noticed, it was listed on my eBay for 45K or best offer. Then it was listed for 16K or best offer. This card is going to auction tonight on behalf of my consigner. I don't know why it's so blurry right now. Very, very blurry. I promise you, the card is not blurry. It is just the camera. This card is going to auction tonight. 10-day auction ending Sunday night. 1 of 1 Superfractor Mothman. So, very interested to see how that goes. I took this in as a buy it now consignment. And then they're ultimately like, hey, I just wanna move it, so let's send it to auction. I do that, but I do not like. You're not gonna send me 100 cards and we're gonna auction them all. That's not what I'm doing. That's James, that's Rusty, that's DC, that's Probstein. Where's the $12 bulk special? Supply and demand. PSA turnaround times are going up. Like, why are they gonna do a $12 special when they can't keep up at 15? Dan, I disagree that PSA 10 is too common. If cards are coming out the factory more minty, why do we need to divide into top and middle percentiles? Because it doesn't mean anything, right? Like, think of a theoretical future where Pokemon actually cares about print quality. Like, clearly they don't right now. Think about a future where they do. Think about a future where 95, 99, 100% of cards, an extreme future, 100% of cards grade PSA 10. What does it even mean? If everyone who pays the $15 submits and gets the 10, it's meaningless. It's a participation trophy, as I've called it already. People care about PSA 10 base first Charizards because there's only 110 of them, 120 of them, however many there are. That is a top 1 percentile card of all those graded. Like, grading, unless I'm crazy, grading matters because you're getting, like, condition scarcity. You're getting condition scarcity. If there is no condition scarcity and everything's a 10, if everything's a 10, nothing's I mean, they're still 10s, but like, people don't just want the 10s because they're higher quality. People want the 10s because they're like disproportionately like harder to get, I think, unless I'm completely wrong. If people value like here's a card right here. Few dollar card raw, they sell for 40 or 50 and a 10. This is the highest grade CGC will give you today. If people value this case at $9, like, that's crazy to me. Like, it's not me. I don't like. I think it's a nice case. It's the best case on the market. It's the best label on the market, in my opinion. But magnetic one touches are fine too. Card savers, top loaders, binder pages are nice too. Like, if and when everything is a 10, I think there will be problems. I could be wrong, and maybe everyone will still. But think about it. Take it to the most extreme. If the print quality got so good that you send to Beckett, every card is a black label. Let's get that drastic. 100% black label rate. You don't think prices go down substantially? If every card's a PSA 10 versus 20%, 30%, 40% being a PSA 10, you don't think prices go down substantially? Yeah, I don't know. Do you think it will ever be possible to have a company to verify sealed booster boxes? PWCC does it. Rusty does it, but they open it to do it. So if and when any, like, Pokemon does not have enough security measures on the production end. Pokemon doesn't care. If Pokemon cared and started putting actual security measures, tamper evident stickers under the labels, different kind of wraps, different kind of coatings on the wraps, different kind of markings on the wraps. If Pokemon cared, someone could in the future for future releases. But like WotC boxes, you can never verify it fully. Even if you open it and start opening packs, you can't be 100% certain. 98, 99, 99.9, never 100. Look at Rusty's videos. Rusty had 2 videos back to back on a Flash Fire booster box. That still could have been resealed. If an evil genius resealed that, they could have put the hit card in there in PSA 8 condition. It's profitable. They would have made thousands of dollars, or $1,000 maybe doing that. Several $100s, a lot of money. But unless Pokemon changes their production, you will never have someone doing it 100%. What BBCE does with the wrapping, I mean, a lot of people value it for sports and this and that, and we see how it went with Pokemon. But yeah, I hope someone grades Ultra Modern booster boxes, because I'll grade them and I'll sell them for a margin. I'll make money, and it'll be silly, though, in my opinion. Sorry, dipping in and out of chat between work, back to the eBay vault. It sounds like the benefits are fairly good. Is there any kind of con you found selling a card through there? The international exposure is... there's no way to measure it exactly, how detrimental it is. But through my understanding, an international... And I wish someone in chat has done this and could let me know. Is there anyone in the chat who is international, who has created an eBay Vault account and then bought through the eBay Vault? I've had a couple customers do it. The way that I understand it, if you are in Canada and you created your eBay account through ebay.ca, you cannot enroll in the eBay Vault. If you, however, this is my understanding, I could be wrong. If you go to ebay.us or ebay.com, a US eBay website, if you go to the US eBay website, create a new account, and then enroll in the vault, I believe you can do that as an international person, just as PWCC allows you to. I think you can then buy stuff as an international buyer through your eBay vault. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's worked. I sell to international people. I ship it to their ship my cards. I ship it to their PWCC vault. I ship it to their eBay vault, however it may be, to their middleman. But the main thing would be like international exposure, which is a big deal for some cards, obviously. Top 5 lawnmowers. I've only ever owned one. I've only ever owned my Massey. But my dad, when I was growing up, I mowed. My grandpa had a Ferris that I mowed on. My dad had a Yazoo that I mowed on. So I think the only mowers that I've ever mowed on were Yazoo, Ferris. So I would rank the Ferris, then the Yazoo, because they were both like just a lot bigger, better, more commercial mowers. Then my Massey, my own mower would be last. I've mowed on tractors, New Holland tractors with like a belly mower. I've also brush hogged, which is like industrial level mowing of like a field. That's my rankings. We got a pizza tracker here. Hit him with the pizza emotes. You say Booyah wants to know if anyone else's PSA sub has been on the arrive stage since the start of the month. Mine probably have, but I'm not looking. We got more pizza trackers. Lots of pizza trackers in chat. Beautiful Mothman. Could you ever see PSA doing turnaround time guarantee for bulk? Probably not. Like, what would a guarantee entail? They'll say, we guarantee it. Is it going to be a money back guarantee? No way in hell they're ever going to do it. What's the point? They can't keep up with demand as is. They should be able to. Like, it's actually, it's just math. As I say, it's just math. You know what your capacity is. You put in some percentage buffer to be safe. Every time you submit an order, they could give you, within a week, they could give you a window. If they use first in, first out, they could tell you, like, hey, you submitted on August 17th, this will be done. They could just map out their production to where the day that you submit, you should know within plus or minus a week or two when it would be done. It's literally just math. Put it in a queue system, put it in a backlog, put it in a first in, first out thing. I mean, we had these kinds of systems exist in industries where they care and where it matters. PSA doesn't care, it doesn't matter enough, so they're not doing it. But Nat's whole excuse about first in, first out, whatever. So the 1% of, he said every order has a fringe case. Okay, Nat, okay. For the 1 to 10% of orders that have a fringe case, we cannot provide you an estimate because you are a fringe case. This is a new card that doesn't have an entry in our spec system, blah, blah, blah. But when you're submitting 50 of these, or 50 Celebration Charizards, or 50 Nagaba EVs, you should know within a week, plus or minus a week, you should know when you're getting your order back. Because they should be doing first in, first out, and it's easy to project. It's very easy to project. Plus or minus a week is probably, plus or minus 2 weeks easily. Plus or minus 2 weeks easily is giving them plenty of room. But they're not going to. Why? There's no need. It's more effort, and yeah, they just don't need to. You also get card authentication along with the numeric grade. People never talk about that aspect. Yeah, I think that aspect matters more. Like, to be fair, the general consumer is not as deep into this as we are. I do not think PSA can authenticate a card at this point better than I can. I trust myself more than I trust PSA for a multitude of reasons. The fake stamps and the different things that get through them, different things that come out of there after supposedly going through 2 QAs. So I personally have been around, and a lot of people in here are probably very, very comfortable authenticating cards by themselves. But the general consumer, like, I get messages all the time on eBay of, is this a real card? Is this genuine product? How do you know it's real? Is the slab, does it come with the slab? Does it come with the case in the picture? Crazy. I mean, 90% of the consumer base is significantly less educated on all this stuff. And they buy those flash card lots on eBay from China. They buy them on Amazon. You buy those local kid binder collections, and you see, like, all these custom flash cards they got off eBay for Christmas or whatever, and they don't know that they're fake. Current market proves price doesn't go down when 10s are easy to get anyway. It's just authenticity and confirmation of condition at this point. I mean, that's not true, though. Like, look at the illustration Charizard. Look at the Sword and Shield 50. Like, when the 10 rates are really high and the pop gets super high, like, pop matters. 10 rate matters. It is one of those factors that goes into what the 10 will ultimately be priced at. Like, those things absolutely. But you can't just say, like, 100% 10 rates won't matter. They'll have a downward effect on the price. Absolutely. How much? We can argue that, but for vintage more, it's about, like, relative condition. I kind of get what you're saying, but, like, that just makes the 10 premiums even, like, I already think the 10 premiums are pretty silly on a lot of things. It makes the 10 premium even that much more silly. People, here's my counterpoint. People clearly care about relative condition, whether or not it's valid, whether or not it's replicable. People pay $300 for a 001 SVP Black Label. That gives you a top 20 percentile card, compared to a PSA 10 for $60, $50 that only gives you a top 95th percentile card. I feel like the Black Label Premium is very indicative of, like, people actually care about having a more exclusive, harder to attain thing. So yeah, I feel like, and again, I'm welcome to push back and all that, But I think the Black Label Premium existing the way that it does and to the magnitude it does is a clear demonstration that there is a desire for like a more premium, higher to achieve grade, which is just giving you a relative condition scarcity, a relative chase. Thanks for stopping in, Jake from Palette. Anyone know how to display metal cards? However you want to. On a card stand, in a penny sleeve, in a top loader, in a card saver, in those frames that you can buy, all a million different ways, in and out of a slab. I sold at auction a Black Label from Unbroken Bonds for $960. People love Black Labels. If BGS didn't have the Black Label chase, they'd be out of business. Yeah, I mean, Zara Looking is kind of on the point that I was on there. I love when you have a Gem Mint 10 listed with great photos and the buyer asks for more photos. Yeah, when people ask for more photos on a Gem Mint 10, they're clearly like trying to find a higher condition. PSA does not allow for people to be confident enough that they're not going to have whitening. And theoretically, the Black Label might do that a bit better, but it doesn't do it perfectly. We know that. Thanks for stopping in, Fat Belly Collects. When I first learned about grading, I thought it was only for like 50-year-old stuff. That made sense. I just assumed out of packs anything would be a 10. Yeah, very bad assumption, obviously, for like WotC and Mid-Era especially, but not a horrible assumption for certain sets, but definitely dangerous for a lot of things. How's it going, Mr. Zard's Mix? So I'm fully caught up on chat. First time, 9 minutes ago, I'm fully caught up on chat. If anyone has any questions, feel free to leave them. I'm going to hang out a few more minutes. I will wrap up a few minutes early if nothing else comes in. But yeah, as always, I really appreciate everyone hanging out. I guess if people are going to grade cards right out of packs, you kind of need a Super 10 grade. Nate G says, people should avoid buying graded modern in general. See, it all depends on intent. If you're buying it as a consumer, who cares? Like, I bought this for $40. What's the difference whether someone buys this for $40 or this for $40? I'm never going to resell this for money. Someday, whether it's 2 years from now or 20 years from now, that's just going to end up in a landfill. I mean, that's ultimately where most items go that you buy as a consumer. Like most items you buy as a consumer, you buy, you consume, they're worthless. They get thrown out in a few months, years, decades, whatever. So it's not unreasonable to me for a consumer to buy this for $40 and just, yeah, $40 is gone. Now I have this. If they're buying it as an investment though, especially if they're buying it on leverage, if they're buying it on credit card, whatever, if they're shunning 401k matches, blah, 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 blah. That's where it gets more dangerous. That's where it gets more. But to say someone shouldn't buy ultra modern, like just as a universal, oh, no one should buy ultra modern 10s. No one should buy any ultra modern graded card. That doesn't make sense. That's like saying, yeah, no one should go to the casino, except if you're doing it right. Like there's a right way to go to a casino and a wrong way. There's a right way, entertainment value. Like I go to Rangers games. A lot of people would think that that's irresponsible. Oh, why would you spend $150 watching a Rangers game when you can watch it on TV for free? It's all how it's all arbitrary, right? Like this is we all have our own lives, our own money. We can spend it how we see fit. And ultimately, if we're armed with the right information and the right expectations, I think it's all reasonable or rational enough. Is it still a spectrum? Like my own spending, my own household spending. Whenever I make the video on it, it won't be ready for Monday, maybe a few Mondays from now. But consciously, I know that some of my spending is more and less rational than other spending. It just is what it is. Like when I buy a part for my lawnmower and when I buy new blades for my lawnmower, that while I'm mowing my lawn, I'm making $50 an hour mowing my own lawn as opposed to paying someone else to do it. That is one of my most rational purchases I ever make. When I decide to have a crab leg dinner out at Red Lobster as opposed to just making the crab legs at home, that's one of my least rational because it's like I could just do that at home and it would taste just as good. So yeah, but I have the money. I consciously decide to do that. My son really likes going out to Red Lobster for whatever. It's his favorite restaurant. So that makes it more rational that my son gets the happiness out of it and this and that. And again, like getting too in deep on how other people should and shouldn't spend their money. to an extent, I get it, but also it's like everyone is their own adult with their own finances, and they can do what they want. Can you recommend a company to purchase insurance for card business? So Goose Collectibles, I'm going to link you right to my video. It is Collectors Insurance Services. Let me see if I can find my video. Just searching eBay quick. eBay. Not eBay. Searching Google quick. I forget what I titled it. I don't know. I can't find it. Collectors Insurance Services, though, is who I use. And it's, I mean, look at them, look at other people, quote against a couple other people. I think they would find more enjoyment putting the cards in binders. There's no way of knowing that, right? Like, I get more enjoyment. Enjoyment is a subjective thing. Enjoyment, like everyone else has their own, like some people love golfing, some people hate it. We all are different people with different tastes and different joys, and it's just weird. It's weird to get too like in depth on people should do X, Y, and Z, and I contextualize it when I say if a person is buying it as an investment, if a person is buying it to make money, I think if you're buying a $300 Black Label 001 SVP. It is more, that is where I will say it's irrational. Just because how available that is, how high the 10 rate is, like you can grade that yourself. But if you're buying it as a consumer, because you hate grading, you hate sourcing raw cards, you just want the end product and you have the money and you know what you're buying into, like you're saying here, they should just grade the cards themselves. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad they buy from me. A lot of people though, like some of your consumers, I guarantee, like, if you've sold enough, like I've sold tens of thousands of slabs, I guarantee there's some of my consumers that make more in a year than I'll ever make in my life. Even my best year in Pokemon, there are people making $300,000 a year. You think someone making $300,000 a year, even if it's 100, even if it's 200, you think that person really should buy 10 raw copies of a $10 card so that they can grade them and maybe end up with some 9s that they don't want and pay the $200 membership fee to PSA? Is it really that irrational for them to just go and pay 100 for the 10? They make, like, say they're a 7-figure net worth individual. Is it really irrational? Obviously, rationality is dependent on their situation, and you don't know their situation. You never know their situation. You're not entitled to know their situation. So yeah, I know from time to time I've definitely said things that more border on like, but the main context is like, I know some people in my personal life, anecdotally, who are doing it on credit, who are doing it as an investment. That is where I can objectively say it's irrational. As far as anyone else, when I don't know their situation, I don't really know how rational or irrational it is. Dan, if your kids ever wanted to get into the business of selling Pokemon cards, would you open a warehouse and scale big? Family business? No, I mean, if my whole family decides to get into it, I have the proper setup to do that. I could house my family as employees with my current setup. So opening a warehouse and scaling big, that sounds like my family plus more. So if my family wants to get into it, I could bump it up a little bit and yeah, have them working, but I wouldn't need to bump it up much. And I'm never gonna have, well, I don't ever intend to have like a big warehouse, have tons of employees and all that. Yeah, why pay $200 to watch the Jets lose when you could do that for free? So I went back in college time frame. I used to go to a Jets game every year. I went to 6, I want to say 6, maybe 7 years in a row. I think I went to 6 in a row where they won in years where most years they had a losing season. So I just picked, and I watched them play some good opponents. I actually watched them get some good wins. But then I watched them lose like 34-0, I believe it was, to the Steelers. And I think that was the last game I went to. That was rough. But you're saying the 10s don't mean anything. If everything's a 10, if everyone's super, no, what is it? The Incredibles. If everyone's super, nobody is. If it literally becomes a participation trophy, it's going to lose a lot of its luster. I don't know how people couldn't agree with that. If you literally, if every, and it's close on some cards. It's very close on some cards. If every card that you buy is just, if it's produced so well, if it's like Kevlar, if it's like bulletproof, if you literally couldn't damage it to where it's going to get less than a 10, being reasonable, prices would go down. If it literally became the purest form of a participation trophy, these people opted to pay the amount of money and guaranteed they get this. Like, there used to actually be a company that essentially did that. BCCG. It used to be like some subsidiary of BGS or whatever. You could literally just send in cards and tell them to put a 10 on the label. That died because it was meaningless, because every card was a 10, so no card was a 10. That's getting into like cards that were actually 8s and 9s and 7s and 6s were getting a 10 on the label. But yeah, if and when Pokemon produced everything perfectly and everything was a 10, that would be damaging to the graded card market. Because if everything is a 10, it's not a special. We all know auctions don't bring full market value, but if I want to liquidate some higher dollar cards, 500 to 1K, which auction site gets the closest to market? Market is not a thing. Like, auctions do get full market value. Market price is just data points. An auction gets the exact market price for that card at that time. I mean, an auction in many ways is the truest form of market price for that instant. Once it's done and over with, just because, like, people get way too into comps. Just because one card sold for X doesn't mean another will. It should be used as a guide. Maybe if 10 people paying X for a card will allow you to be more comfortable paying that, yeah, makes sense. Use recent sales to guide, but not like as concrete, like, oh, the comp is this, so you gotta pay this. Market price does not exist. There's ranges, there's a lot of plus or minus. These things all have an intrinsic value of 0. They're worth whatever buyer and seller are willing to agree on. And that can change fast. I mean, 2020 showed that. It can 10x overnight. It can drop 50% in a day or a week. So these things are very, very variable. What does Dan's storage look like compared to Rudy's bathroom? Pallets, not as many as him though. I totally agree. My point is, it's crazy to pay a huge multiplier for a black label and PSA 10s are participation trophies. Why should people buy graded modern? If you have the money, why not? Like, if you have the money and it's worth it to you, why not? Like, why should people buy anything? Why should people do anything? Why should people go out to dinner? Why should people go to the movies? Why should people, like, why ask why? Why ask why? When you open the warehouse, you'll be able to drive the forklift with all that more experience. Yeah, I have forklift experience too. My dad actually used to have the same, very similar forklift that my old work had, but I wasn't certified, so I couldn't drive it at work. Besides base, first, and WotC sets, what mid-era booster box would you love to open for fun, and if money was no issue? I opened them all. So if I could open one again, Unseen Forces was a very, very solid set. It's unfortunate what happened with the gold stars there, but Unseen Forces is an amazing set, barring the whole gold star beast issue. So Unseen Forces would be a good one. Fire Red Leaf Green was fun with a lot of the Kanto Chase. No gold stars though. All of them were fun. That's why I opened them all. Yeah, I'm glad people buy. I mean, as long as people keep buying, I'll keep selling. When last solds are 50% of last sold buy it nows, what's the negotiation look like for you with a prospective buyer? There's no negotiation. Like, this is my price. Buy it or don't buy it. Many times, especially on all my WotC right now, a lot of my WotC, if it auctions for 80 and low list was 180, I priced at 150. A lot of people will message me on my WotC saying like, hey, comps are this, comps are XYZ. And I'm like, okay, buy mine or don't buy mine. Buy or buy. BUY or BYE. Just because 3 sold, 10 sold, 50, I don't care how many sold for that. Mine will sell for this or it won't sell. Or maybe someday I'll send an offer, maybe someday I'll auction it. But as of right now, it's like, just because, that's why data points don't mean anything. Just because some things are selling, other people are selling for X, you can't force me to. You can't force a seller to sell and match comps. Same thing if you're if you're on the selling side, say one sells for 150. I can't make anyone else replicate that. I can't make anyone else buy for 150. So data points are just data points. They're not actionable. Use them as a guide. But so many people get so hung up on comps. That's like during the boom, way too many people got way too comfortable paying high prices because other people had paid them. That's what's dangerous about comps. People get way too comfortable paying because comps say that they're fine. Like comps can go away real quickly. Comps can go down really quickly. Dangerous. Be careful. Did you watch PokeRev's Unseen Forces opening yesterday? I don't really watch hardly any of his videos. I didn't see that. Buyer that wants last sold auction prices. I just say no. Like, no. Go. Sometimes if I'm feeling snarky, I'll say, okay, go buy that one then. And then they'll say, oh, well, it already sold, so I can't. And I'll say, oh, interesting. Okay. What do you want to do here? Like, occasionally, sometimes I'll have it listed for 150. Last auction was 80 or 100, whatever it was. Sometimes they'll say like, hey, look, I know that you don't have best offer enabled. I know that the last two auctions were 80 and 100. I know that you're the lowest listed on the market. If someone comes in with all that, like they've done the research, they tell me the recent sales, and they say like, I know you have best offer disabled for a reason. Will you do 120? Will you do 140? Will you knock 20 bucks off? I sell a lot of cards in that fashion. When people come in and say, last auction's 80, I'm paying 80. I'm offering 80. Go away. When you say last auction's 80, could you do, like, there's been times where I have it listed for 150. Last auction was 80. And I'll check quick. And I've been undercut. There's a new low list at 140. There's a new low list at 130. And they say, hey, last auction was 80. Will you do 90? One of my biggest pet peeves on eBay is when they don't get all the information in one message. When they say, hey, when they say last sold was this, how low will you go? If you give me all the information in the first message, I am way more likely. If you come to me with like, hey, last sold was XYZ, you're at this, I'm offering here. As long as it's reasonable, almost every time I sell that card. But if you come with like, what's the absolute lowest you are willing to take? If you come with last auction is this, what can you do? Go away. Like that is how I do business. Some people might think I'm kind of an ass to be frank as a seller. And to be honest, like I probably am. Like admittedly, I probably am. I have this thought that someday down the line, I might do like a food truck type thing. I love cooking food. I love eating food. I might do like a food, being directly customer facing. If and when I ever were to get like a Karen, if and when I ever were to get someone that was just like, this was done wrong, this food doesn't taste, like, just go away. Like, just go. I would be bad at like doing the customer service face, customer service voice. I would just be like, go away, leave your 1-star review. Like, I don't need or want your money. Just leave. I'm very much like that as a seller, to be honest. Yeah, a lot of entitlement in different buyers. Just because data points exist, they think they're entitled to get them. No, when those data points were generated, you should have been there. And one thing people fail to realize, when someone wins an auction for 80, their max bid might have been 120. Just because they got it for 80 doesn't mean you would have. Like, I guarantee the fact that they got it in 80 for auction means that you would not have. At a minimum, you would have gotten it for 82.50. So like when they say what the last auction was, the only way you would have beat them with their bid in auction is if you had gone one increment higher. So it's like their max bid might have been 100. You might have paid 102.50. That 80 data point is not actionable. It's not meaningless. It means something, but it doesn't mean as much as a lot of people think it means. Like, people are way too big on comps, to be honest. Comps mean a lot more when you're selling like an Evolving Skies booster box. When you're selling something more liquid, more ultra modern, where it's just transacted a lot more frequently, the comp matters a lot more on a PSA 10 Celebrations Charizard than it does on like a PSA 10 Slowking from Neo Genesis First Edition. Because way more niche, way less quantity, way less liquid. But that said, PSA 10 Celebrations Charizard is not a PSA 10 Celebrations Charizard. They're non-fungible. Everyone is different. Everyone is unique. They all vary slightly. So, yeah, data points are way over relied on, I think. I'm going to be ending soon, but yeah, I feel like we had some good rants going there for a bit. Snarky Dan is best. It costs so much in time to deal with lowballers, it's not worth it. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people learning within the last 2 years that it's people's own money and choice. Imagine projecting your own finances for others. And again, I say all these things. I know I'm not perfect. I know that, and I don't think this was like towards me, or maybe it was. Either way, over the years, I mean, I've spoken live on YouTube and pre-recorded on YouTube for hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours. So there's definitely things I've said. If you were to go back through every second of it, there's probably been times where I've said things that I've probably changed my opinions on certain things. I've probably said things that contradict themselves, especially if it's over months and years. Things just might change. But I do my best to stay as consistent as possible. I do my best to change my opinions if and when new information comes that leads me to new conclusions. I do my best to have strong opinions. I forget who said it, but strong opinions held loosely. Let me see if I can find it. Strong opinions loosely held. I forget. I think it was in one of the books that I read. I think it was one of the... Oh, it's a concept attributed to Jeff Bezos of Amazon. And I Google it, and some people say they love the idea, some people say they hate the idea. And everyone has their own interpretation. When they see something, when they hear something, everyone perceives and experiences and interprets everything differently. So the way that I hear that quote and interpret it will be different than the way with their own mind, their own brain, their own experiences, their own education, their own everyone has their own unique self, their own unique brain, and we're all perceiving the same things, just in our own different ways. But anyways, all that said, I do my best to stay consistent over time. I do my best to not and that's where a lot of my stuff gets seen as fence sitting, because I say context matters. I throw nuance in. I say that it's not just black or white. A lot of people want the black or white. A lot of people want the extreme. You've got to draw a line in the sand and step on one side or the other. A lot of my stuff is seen as fence sitting, because I say I can't universally say a $300 001 SVP Black Label is a horrific purchase. I think there are many people buying them that are doing horrific things for their finances, but I think there's some amount of consumers buying them that it's like... it's meaningless. It's literally meaningless. Like, they have I've sold some Black Label cards. I've sold some very, very what I deem too expensive cards to people that have 7-8 figure net worths, and it's like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't mean anything at that point. So yeah, nuance vomit. What's your feelings on Topps Pokemon cards? They were the secondary choice as kids back in the WotC days, but they've grown on me in the past couple of years. The pots on some of them are really low. Topps never had such a negative connotation around them on my playground growing up. They weren't as ubiquitous as the regular ones, but some people had them and they were cool. They were Pokemon. They were just different. I had some growing up, but yeah, some people say like how people were picked on and laughed at if they had Topps, and that was not like around my school. My kids were more accepting, maybe a poorer area in the woods than the big city folk, but they're fine. They're cool. I think a lot of the prices are crazy high relative to what I value them at. Same as non-Topps cards. So, yeah. Even buy it now comps. Historically speaking, going back on trophy cards, there used to be like what some people called like a person premium. Dave Person is a guy who owns every trophy card. He used to go and he only wanted one of each, and a lot of people would almost like want to be the guy to sell to Dave, because once Dave got his set, once Dave got his first place, second place, third place, fourth place from each year, the next buyer was paying a lot less. So there was a several year period where Dave was kind of paying the most, and once his buy was gone, once his bid was gone, once it was fulfilled, there were no other buyers there. And that's a thing. Like that's absolutely a thing. More so with like more scarce cards, lower print run cards. But it's an interesting dynamic, interesting scenario where just because one data point is transacted, as a buyer, as a seller, you cannot force anyone to transact at that price, let alone, like, there are some cards where I've sold cards in the boom, outside of the boom, where the last comp was 2K. I've sold cards for double the last comp. How do you think prices move? Like, how do people think prices move? If comps were the only thing that mattered and every card would have one price that would eternally trade for, right? Comps are just so silly, the way that people use them a lot of times. Does eBay International include China? I'm not sure. Nuance is needed. You're like the last bastion for it, LOL. Lots of just memery nowadays. Love the interesting nuance takes. Yeah, the ceiling is a lot lower for the nuance. The ceiling is a lot lower for the fence sitting, but that's who I am. If and when I ever do a finance channel, if and when I ever do a food channel, if I ever do a food channel, I'll probably get into the nuance of hickory versus competition blend versus using oak versus using walnut, all the different kinds of woods you can smoke with and the flavor profile. I'll probably get into nuance in whatever I do. But yeah, I'm very much a disclaimer, Dan. Always need to give all the potential sides, and I don't do a perfect job of that either. There's definitely times where I'm lacking some nuance. There's definitely times where people tell me to get off the fence and I get off it too much, and I probably say things that don't work out, and yeah, whatever. That's I feel like I've gone on long enough. I did 15 minutes of bonus time. I do have some stuff I have to wrap up before I hit quitting time at 4:30. So yeah, fun 2-hour and 15-minute live stream. I will not be live next week. I will be at Water Safari. So I will be live on PokeFlipz though. Bi-weekly, not twice a week. Bi-weekly is a stupid word. It can mean twice weekly, or it can mean occurring every 2 weeks. My bi-weekly lives are occurring every 2 weeks. So yeah, I will see you guys in 2 weeks here, and I will see you in 1 week on PokeFlipz. I appreciate everyone hanging out.